Welcome to Money Convos, where we discuss personal finance and investment tips. We're committed to helping people create wealth and achieve financial freedom. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Clubhouse, and Facebook, and subscribe to our YouTube and podcast. Alright then, let's head into today's conversation.
Hello, Akusha. How you doing?
Hi, Elikem. I'm good. Think that we are the only two here now.
Yeah,
So
no
okay,
worries. More people will
we'll
be
join
joining
soon.
us in a sec.
Definitely. We'll just be on standby.
All right.
Okay.
Hi, Jenny. How you doing?
Hello, Elikem. I'm doing well, thank you. And you?
I'm okay. I'm all right.
Hi, Akosia. Nice to meet you.
Hi, Jennifer. Likewise.
Okay, so I see we already have an audience. Let's not keep them waiting. So today's conversation is all about mortgages. We want to help equip all our followers, people who are interested in financial education and demographic, which just ties into people who just started working to their 40s, is just right up down our alley to have this conversation. So I'm glad to have Akusia Mantibia Inkum joining us. Akusia, do you? Okay, I got your contact as Mantibia, but which do you prefer to go by?
I think Akosia is fine. I feel like Matubia can be a bit heavy on the tongue, so Akosia could work. Yeah.
Okay, interesting. All right, okay. So while we still wait for some more people, perhaps you could tell us a little bit about yourself. These are recorded sessions, so even if people are not in the room, people would be able to hear it later. So please, if you don't mind, just telling us a little about yourself.
Okay, so as you already heard, my name is Akosia Mantibia Inkum. I work with First National Bank as a business development analyst. So what I do is business development. Well, as the name suggests, I bring new business to the company in terms of making sure that we have more home loans referrals. I engage with developers, so the real estate developers in Ghana, both high and middle and low end. I engage with them, make sure that they have stock. So one issue with the real estate industry is that also supply. So there's a demand for houses, but sometimes we have a shortage in the supply. Somebody will say that maybe there are houses people are not buying because of the prices, etc. So we have developers that are building in the high end, in the middle income section, and then also the low end. So I also work with developers if they have any problems, etc. When it comes to loan disbursements, etc. We are the go-to person to speak with. We also engage with other stakeholders. We do corporate presentations for companies, look at group schemes. So if we have like a company that is looking to give us like 20 people to come for mortgages, we could look at a package that would suit their need. I also engage in all these social media, market education, marketing, storms, etc., just to create awareness about the mortgage products we have in Ghana. I've been a relationship manager in the banking industry too, where I was actively chasing deposits and giving out loans. So basically that is what I do with First National Bank. I don't know if that is information enough, but
Well,
yeah.
that is a lot of information. Very good information. It's interesting that you've worked in as an RM in a bank, and you are working even with developers. I'll hit on that part with the developers in a bit, but I'll let you do your thing soon. Okay. Hi, Saram. How you doing?
Hi, Elikem. I'm good, thank you. How about you?
I'm great. So, Saram,
Good
I'm guessing
evening,
you don't need
everybody.
this mortgage conversation. You already have like two, three mansions already.
Good evening.
Amen.
Okay. All right. All right. Okay. Yeah, I'm sure you're laughing because it's more like five and I said two. But okay. All right.
Yeah,
Amazing.
Yeah,
in my
reducing the
father's house
portion.
there are many mansions.
And as I always have mentioned, your husband's father's house, there are lots of mansions. So we are combining the two.
In my father's house there are many mansions. So yes, as just Jesus is going to prepare a place for me. So I have
Mhm.
a lot. Yes.
Okay. All right. But while you are still here, we'll be talking about the mortgage so that you make sure that the place that you are staying while you are here before you go and join Jesus is fine. Okay. All right. Nice to have you. Okay, Akosia. So over to you. You would like to explain some things about mortgages to us before we get into the Q&A.
Okay, great. So, because you all know that I'm from First National Bank, I would be biased to my bank as and when the conversation picks up. I hope that won't be a problem.
No, no, not at all.
Okay, so so basically, one might wonder what is a mortgage. I mean, people always say, "Oh, mortgage, mortgage, mortgage." Mortgage is just a loan that is secured by a landed property. So when I say a landed property, is a house. So the house is a landed property, or in some cases, a land, maybe 10 by 70 by 100, 100 by 100, 1 acre, 2 acre plot land. That is what's a mortgage. It's a loan that is secured by a landed property. So unlike a personal loan, so if you go to a bank and you are looking for a personal loan, well, you don't really need any form of security. They could just look at your income and analyze would you qualify for it, and let you move your accounts to their bank so that they will be doing the monthly deductions, etc. um for like a maximum of say 5 years. The other interesting thing about mortgages is that it's a long term loan. So usually you look at between 10 to 20 years. So you come for a loan about, say, if you are say 30 years and you take 20 years, by the time you finish paying off the loan you would be 50 years. However, I mean, that shouldn't be scary. We have people that are able to pay ahead of their stipulated time. So maybe you could have a loan of for 20 years or for 15 years, but 5 years along the line, hey, you become the president of Ghana, and then you run into some money, and then you can pay off your facility. Now, I would want to run you through some of the various products that are usually offered under mortgages. So we have a product called, so these are things that cut across. Okay, we have the home loans product. That's a first time buyer product. So first time buyer products are for people that are looking to buy their very very first home. So maybe you finish school, you've gotten a good job, or you are self-employed, you have good income coming in, and say that, hey, I want to own a very first home. There's a mortgage product for you, which is called a first time buyer. We also have a home purchase um, mortgage product. So the home purchase mortgage product is for maybe people. So we usually slash it with a product called buy to let. It's for people that already have a home but are looking to buy a second house for say an investment. So as Sarah was saying that there are many mansions in her father's house, so she could have one mansion and then decide that, oh no, she wants to acquire another mansion in another place for rental business, etc. There's also a product for it. Then we have switch or financing refinance option. So the switch or refinance option is, say you have a loan with a bank or a financial institution and say that, hey, I don't like the way they are treating me, I want a longer term, their rate is not good, etc. You can refinance the loan to another financial house which you feel would be better for you. Then we have the equity release mortgage. So an equity release is simply means that you have a house, okay, it's in your name, you've acquired it, but you need some funds to, let's say, travel, do another business, buy a car, maybe a Mercedes, a G-Wagon, or whatever Edikem prefers, his luxury car. Or maybe your child is sick, you need to give him medical attention, say in another foreign country, you need like bulk cash. Or you need to go to school or sponsor somebody to school, etc. Depending on what your need is, you can use the house as a collateral and release funds from it. So you know that the house is an asset. We can value it and say that we are giving you, say, up to 60% of the value of the house. So if you have a house that is worth, say, $100,000 or 7 million Ghana cedi. I mean, now that the rates are going so high, if I say 7 million is just 100,000 or 7.2 million is just $100,000. I'm not saying just because I have the money. I'm just putting it
No,
in
please,
Saram's term.
no, please calm down. 7 million is like is like $1 million. Why? It's not that bad. It's not 100,000, 1 million. Why?
Sorry, I mean 1 million. Yeah, sorry. Yeah. I mean
Oh, we
7
funny.
million is $1 million. I mean, so I meant 700,000. Sorry, yes. Thanks for the
Okay,
correction,
okay.
Kim.
Yeah.
So if a house that was about 100,000, now that the rate is 7 years by 100 by 7 is $700,000. So we can give you up to 60% of the value. So if $100,000, we can give you up to, say, $60,000 if you qualify for it, and then you can use it for your whatever need that you require. Then we also have a home construction loan. So a home construction loan, a home completion loan means that you have a land, you've started some construction on it. So you've done your foundation, you've raised it up to lentil level. That is your equity, and you say that, hey, I don't have the money to finish this property. Can you come in and then finish it for me? The answer is yes. If you qualify for it, the financial institution could step in and give you a long-term loan for 15 years. The catch with this kind, the home completion or the home construction mortgage, is that if the first phase is just a construction phase, so they will give you the money to build in phases for a year. So let's say that you need, say, 40,000 Ghana cedis, or it's equivalent in dollars, to finish the house. They will come in and say that, okay, the first $10,000 would be used for, say, gable to roofing. So when you finish, then they'll come and inspect and say that they are giving you another tranche of the money to do plastering and electrical or plumbing works. Then when you are done, they can give you a third disbursement to do maybe the tiling, external works, etc. Then you could even request for a final disbursement, depending on how the loan is structured, to do, like, say, your gardening, your security, gates, etc. When you finish with the construction phase, then they will step in and then change your facility into a mortgage. So during the construction period, what you are doing is just interest only payments. So you pay some amount of money on the principal that would be disbursed. However, when you finish construction, then they will move it into a mortgage and then spread it at over 15 years for you. Then we move on to land purchase mortgage. So for the land purchase mortgage, say you are seeing a land as maybe Oyarifa or Kaswa or Airport, Roman Ridge, etc. You come in and say that, hey, please, I need money to buy this land, and then we would step in to help you buy. One thing that we must note is that, for apart from the home construction and home completion mortgages, you may have to give the developer a down payment. So if you are buying a property, for mortgages usually, well, in Ghana, if you are buying a property that is, say, less than $100,000, the bank can give you up to 80% of the value of the amount. Then you would give the 20% to whoever you are buying it from. The reason being that it's a risk thing. We believe that you should also have equity in the property. However, we have a product called collateral replacement indemnity. So it is a loan that is backed up by insurance. There are people that will say that, oh, you know what, I cannot and I do not have any money to give to the developer or whoever is selling to me as a down payment. I need the bank to give me 100% of the amount. So if it's 70,000, you need us to move in and give you all 70,000. With that kind of loan, we'll take an insurance against your 20% that you were supposed to give to the developer. So that is called collateral replacement indemnity backed loan. Please, are we on the same page? Do I need to go over or continue?
Yeah, well, it's good for me. Anyone wants a recap? Okay, I think we should go on. Yeah. The last term was a bit of a mouthful. Collateral replacement indemnity what facility?
Yes, it's a bag. So it's usually you do CRI. It means that we are giving you 100%. So instead of you to give your vendor a portion of the money as your collateral, as your equity, you have come to us that you can't afford it. So we should help you cover that side. So we take an insurance again. So if you're supposed to give the person 20K, we would insure that 20K, that amount of money, and then bill you with it. So it's a collateral replacement indemnity backed loan. But well, you don't really need to like bother about it. It's just that we can also give in Ghana. We can also give you 100% mortgages. The regular thing is that you have to give the person a down payment, which means that you are also like equally invested in whatever you are buying. We realize that for if somebody is going to buy a house, right, and say that, oh, Jennifer has given the vendor say $40,000. I mean, that is her money. That is her 40,000. She's committed to making the thing work, or she's committed to making sure that the property is in good condition. However, usually when people come and say that, oh, give me 100,000, the property is 100,000, it's like they don't feel that they have invested in it. It's like somebody else's money that has been given to you. So that is why we ensure that at least you give 20 to 30% of the property price to whoever is selling it to you. Yes, so that's just on the side.
That's great.
Hi,
Okay,
Akosia.
Sarah, you want to ask?
Hi,
Yes,
Sarah.
please. Where does pension funds come in? As in, is it tier 2, tier 3? I think no, I think tier 2. I think one of them you can use it. Is it your first accommodation for your first house as a collateral also for your first house? How does that feed into your products, please?
Okay, hi. Thank you, Sarah. So yes, you can use, I think it's the tier 2. You can use it as a collateral for your first home. However, we haven't rolled out that yet. So we are still in talks with MPRA and the government to be able to, the government is really like very skeptical when it comes to giving pensions out to be used to, although the law states that it can be done. We are far advanced in plans to roll out pension backed mortgages. So currently in Ghana, no bank is really doing pension backed mortgages,
I think
although it
EcoBank is doing something like that
they've
with,
started.
yes, EcoBank, yes, with Enterprise. Because I think during the Habitat Fair, the Habitat Fair that was done recent, yes, they were talking about, yes, I think it was EcoBank had rolled out. So it was more like the insurance thing you talked about. So instead of like the 30% equity or the 20% equity, you could use your pension fund if it was equivalent to that 20% or 30% equity as your portion.
Yes,
Yes.
that is true. I'm not even doubting. So I didn't know that EcoBank had rolled it out. We have been in talks with Petra, Axis, and some. We even tried to do, I don't know, then GC Net. We had one application that was like a mock application that we ran through the system. Well, he qualified, but for now there's been a hold on it. We need to get like Bank of Ghana, government approval. For us, the paper is advanced, so I will not be able to talk much on pension backed mortgages. Just that yes, you can use your tier 2. Maybe another time when the session is held and we've rolled it out, and then I have like a master of it, I can really say something on it so that I don't give anybody misinformation.
Okay, that's great. That's great. Thank you. I think we can continue.
Okay, so for
Akosia,
First
sorry. So
National
I
Bank,
was
the
flashing my
minimum.
mic. I think Elikem didn't see
Oh,
me.
okay,
So
sorry.
sorry, I just want some clarity on the collateral backed facility. Sorry. So I just want to know how it works because you just mentioned that people have like skin in the game when they have some 20-30% equity. So this one where you are going to get an insurance for them to pay, I want to know, number one, what do they pay? Is it premium? Is it a one-time payment? If not, how is it? If you could throw more light on, let's say, the processes and the operational aspects of it for me. Thank you.
Okay, so for collateral, for us, how we roll it out is that, so it increases the interest rate that you would pay on the loan, and then so you add a margin to your interest rate, and then you pay an annual premium on the amount of money we have insured for you. I don't know if that
Okay.
answers. So if we insure
Okay.
like $20,000, there'll be a premium that you pay to the insurance company. However, you would also bear a risk margin on the loan facility that you take. So if you had ordinarily, so if say for me, I have given 20%, so 20K to the vendor, and then I finish with a loan of maybe a margin of say 13.5, you would finish with 14.5, depending on what advices, because there's a risk margin that will be added to your final rate.
Okay. So I just want to follow up. So, do you think that, I don't know if you've seen the numbers, but are people a lot more likely to default in settings like that as compared to when they have, let's say, a 30% equity stake? Or you, from the data that you've seen, people still go ahead and then make all the payments once they don't have any initial deposit that they make? Can you speak to that?
Okay, yes, I can. So
Okay.
interestingly, just so that I also note, if very few people even take that option, because they realize that their repayment over the next 15 years is like relatively high because they have gone for the collateral replacement indemnity option. However, those who have that option barely default. They barely default. So the default rate is low. But people come back and say that, oh, maybe I don't want that option. My auntie says you give me that money, or I sold something, I got that part of the money. I don't need to insure it, because also it's not just the collateral replacement indemnity. The insurance it's you are going to take life insurance, you're going to take property insurance, you have the other insurance paying. So because it's like a long term loan, people really are careful about taking the 100% mortgages. However, the few that take it, so far, I mean, I've been with them for about 8 years. The default rate is like really low. If that answers your question,
Yeah, it does. Thank you.
right? So maybe we can move on. So the minimum loan amount from my bank that we give out is 20,000 USD. The maximum loan tenor that we give out is 20 years. The base rate, okay, is for the dollar is 12.5% plus a margin. So what we say a margin, what usually if you take a loan, if you are taking a mortgage, someone says that they would add margins to their base rate. Let me give you examples. If Mimi is buying a house at airport, residential, cantonment, Laponi. I mean, we are in Ghana, we would all agree that these are very high net worth places to live at. I mean, some parts of East Legon. So if you go into default, right, and you say that, okay, we are looking to auction this house or sell it off, etc., it's easier to get a buyer. Now, no offense to anybody, if you go and buy a house, say Dowina community 30, 20 something, or around my hometown, Ibri, or going to Kaswa, after Kaswa, Budumburam area. Those are like high risk areas, because you find out the person goes into default, you are auctioning the property, and people say, oh, they don't want it. So me, I want to live in town. No, I don't want it. So it takes a bit of time to sell those properties. So somebody buying around, say, community something, might attract a property a locational margin of maybe 1%. If I'm buying around cantonments or airports, I could be zero. no locational margin would be added to mine. If I'm buying maybe some parts of East Legon or maybe a dental or something, I could get like a 0.5. Then we come to the person's income risk margin. So for income risk margin, you see, usually the loans may be offered in CD or dollar equivalents, right? So if you're a dollar earner, you are taking a dollar loan, it's easy. I mean, dollar to dollar, if whatever happens, you are still good. So you may attract no margin. However, if it's like a CD to a dollar loan, you could also attract the exchange rate margin of maybe say 0.5. So that comes to add to your base rate. Then we also have people, so people that have never, interestingly, people that have never also taken a loan before are also very high risk clients or maybe medium risk clients. The risk being that they have never committed to paying something month on month on month on month. So you don't know what their attitude will be towards paying a loan over 15 years. So some of them can attract a margin. If you have taken a loan before and you have defaulted, right? It means that you are high risk and it's possible that within the 15 years you may default once or twice or thrice. There could be a margin that will be added to your base rate. Then we also have some that have also taken several loans and have never defaulted on their loan, so they may also attract no margin on their base rate. So this is how the rates. So usually we say that rates differ from individual, so from one person to the other. I may be applying with Prince, we are in the same office, we want to buy from maybe two different parts of town but it's relatively close. I may end up with 14 point something, maybe 14.75 as my final rate. He may end up at 13.5 as his final rate. So rates are based on individual circumstances. However, the base rate for the dollar is 12.5%. For First National Bank, we've been running this rate discount. So after all the margins have been applied, then we will slap it with a further discount of 1.5%. That is like wow. I thought that there'll be some clapping in the room, but anyway, yeah, that is for us. So for the CD, it is Ghana reference rates that is issued by Bank of Ghana plus a margin. So if the reference rate is about 12.5, then we add a margin of say 8%, we'll slap it further with 1.5% discount. So that comes up to about say 18.5, 18, 17, depending on the individual thing, as I've said. Now I'd move on to maybe walk you through the process of, say, if you've actually walked to a bank to say that you are applying for a mortgage, what is the application process? So
Akusha,
yeah,
sorry, can I ask a question?
yes, you can.
Okay, so you didn't delve too much into the CD side, but I just want to clarify if I heard you right. Is it possible that someone could be doing a CD mortgage at 18%?
Yes.
Okay, okay. And what's the current reference rate?
Let me just confirm on the Bank of Ghana website. I have my laptop here, so we'll come back to it. But
Okay, okay.
you would notice that the just a second, people qualify for more. So for March 2022, it's 14.18.
Okay,
That's the
okay.
GR 14.18. Then we'll add our margin, which is set, that's 88%. Then we'll slap it with your discounts that you would enjoy. But it's interesting to know that people qualify for more money in the dollar facility than in the CD facility because of the rate difference. I don't know if that's understandable. So the dollar is 12.5. The CD is like sometimes 18 point something, 20 point something. If I have like say 5,000 CDs, I can qualify for $20,000. If I have 5,000 CDs, I will not qualify for the equivalent of $20,000. Does that make sense?
Yes,
That
I guess to me, because I've done that calculation many times, but I guess I get it. The higher interest cost would be a higher burden on you. So there's only so far you can go with that higher interest rate.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. Okay.
Okay. That's great. Thank you. Please, you can continue. Oh,
Okay.
Jennifer has a follow-up to this. Jenny.
Okay.
Okay, it's not really a follow up. So I just wanted to know if you could list the components of the interest that is added, let's say the margins. So you mentioned locational and then income. Are they those two, just those two, or there may be other ones?
So that we do that, we profile the individual. Um, so I mentioned that, for example, people,
New
we pull
people,
credit
yeah.
reports. So we pull credit reports on every. So when you apply for a loan, whether it's a personal loan, car loan, mortgage, everything that you do in Ghana, once you have a loan, the banks called you on the credit with the credit bureaus. So we put your credit reports, right, and then we realize that, say, hey, Papa has gone for some loan in 2016 at some bank. He didn't, Papa, sorry that I'm using as an example, he didn't really finish
No
paying.
problem.
Well,
Hey, this rich one.
and he defaulted. And he defaulted. So I mean, hey, Papa, if we give you the money in 15 years, we don't think that you come through for us. We'll slap you with a margin. However, let's say, Prince, we pull your credit reports and then you've taken about 5 loans, but you have been diligently paying. You don't have any record of defaults. You may attract no margin. However, if Mimi has also taken a loan, never really taken a loan before, I mean, it's also because of character. Jennifer, I don't know if you are following me. We don't know what her character will be to commit to paying a loan over 15 years. So she may maybe just a little, maybe point 0.3, point 0.5 etc. But really, so the loan goes to a department called credit. So they really do the risk analysis, and then depending on what the situation is, they would allocate those margins to the loan.
Okay, thank you.
Great. So maybe I was going to talk about the process, but I would want to mention first that the loan also comes with costs. So we have like the transaction cost. So if you are applying for a facility, you could pay, let's say, application fee. So we charge application fee, and then deposit towards registration. Now in Ghana, the highest certificate somebody can have on a land is a land title certificate. So say if you buy a property and the person gives you like registered indentures or whatever document, lease, whatever, we would go ahead to make sure that you have a land title certificate. So a land title certificate is the highest form you can have. If you've seen it before, it's like a certificate that has like a ribbon with it. So if you hold that on a land, nobody can come now and say that it belongs to their grandmother in 1950 something, and because it has gone through the lands commission system. So when you take a facility, the banks, so most banks try to help you register your property so that you get your title certificate. So you pay a minimum, say for us, we pay a minimum $1,500. um if we use more than that, we'll come to you to top it up. If you use less than that, we would also refund the money to you. However, as we make payments, so the money doesn't come to the bank, it goes to lands commission. You pay your consent, your stamp duty, you move to private vested land division, you move to land. Let me not bore you with that, but there's a whole process to try and acquire your land title certificate. So you make a deposit towards acquisition of it. And also the application fee, you pay a minimum $500. So this is what it involves. So it's all the paperwork. We'll do valuation, we'll do search, we'll do survey, and we'll do legal opinion. I'll go through just this 4 things. So we do a search, right? So imagine that you've gone to buy a land and say that, oh, it's for Emanuela Opoku, or maybe, hi Paulina, welcome. So let's say Paulina owns the property. She has documents on the land, but we go to lands commission and says that no, the name allowance commission is not for Paulina, it might be for Mimi. So that's a red flag. It shows that the land or the property does not really belong to Paulina. The documents that they've given you might be forged. So we do the search to make sure that it is indeed the vendor who owns the property. Then we move on and then we do evaluation. So valuation says that okay, somebody is selling a house to you for say 200,000 Ghana cedi. However, this land or this property is worth about maybe 130,000 Ghana cedi. So we do evaluation, and the evaluation has three stages. It has the open market value, the forced sale value, and then the reinstatement value. So the open market value comes at say 140,000. However, the vendor is giving it to you for say 200,000. We'll call you and advise you that well, this is the selling price of the property on the market. This is what it's supposed to be. Do you still want to buy it? If you say yes, we'll go ahead. If you say no, then you can withdraw your application and then look for another property. And then we also do survey. The survey is to make sure that the property does not fall in any other person's land. So there are instances where somebody has sold their house to somebody and one side of the wall after survey realized that well it doesn't belong to the vendor. He's stolen a portion. I mean it happens in Ghana. They've stolen a portion of the land. That's where your wall falls. In future, anybody has the right to break it. So the survey helps to if there are like differences like that, it helps to correct them. Then we also seek legal opinion. So we send all these reports, the survey to a law firm, a legal practitioner, and then they would advise that well, maybe you can register this property. There's like encumbrances on the land. You can't register it. You need to seek consent from the states. You need consent to assign. So there are places that are like government land. So government owns a place around airports, around cantonments, 37 area and all that. You need like consent to assign, consent to mortgage. You need to get all those documents in place before you can get the person a land title certificate. So yes, I've talked about the valuation for you to know. Another section of the valuation is the reinstatement value. So the reinstatement value is the value of the property without the land. The idea is that land will never gets bad, or I mean the land will always be there. So it's how much you will need if something happened to put up the property. So that is what a reinstatement value is. And the forced sale value in evaluation reports means that if giddy giddy you need to run away because I mean Putin is coming to Ghana and you don't want your property again, this is an acceptable price that you can sell your property. Please, are we aligned?
Yeah, we are.
Okay, so I'll go on and then we can talk about the requirements that you might need if, say, you're applying for a mortgage in Ghana. We'll usually take your proof of identification. Now, the Ghana card works. We'll take your passport picture. We'll take a proof of address. So that could be like if you are renting, maybe a utility bill, or, yeah, ECG water. We'll take a proof of income. We take your 3 months most recent pay slip, and then we take your 3 months most recent bank statement. So the bank statement and the pay slip just goes to confirm that you are earning 2,000. It comes in your bank statement. The next month it reflects. So just to confirm it, and then we'll pull your credit reports, XDS, done in Brasseries, in Ghana, Experian, anything would contact. We'll pull your credit report to see how you perform on your other loans. And then if you are buying a property from a vendor, we'll take the offer that the vendor is giving you. We'll take his ID. We'll do a small questionnaire for him to answer. We'll take his utility bill, and then any other documents that we will need to be able to advance the loan to you. So I'll just zoom straight and we are almost done to talk about what the application process is, which is quite simple. So for First National Bank, we'll give you a form. You complete the form. Then we'll give you a letter of acknowledgement within 72 hours after we receive your application. Then when you receive your letter of acknowledgement, you sign, and then return it back to us. That shows that indeed you want to go ahead with the facility. Then you give you an LOI, letter of intent, which is also that you would also sign and bring it back to us. Then we'll offer you a facility letter. When we offer you a facility, it's like our final offer to you. So the first one and the second one is to say, are you sure you want to take? We have received your application. Are you good to go? So if you sign your facility letter, then you can go ahead and pay your minimum fees. Then we can do the search and survey, etc. And then after paying, would prepare all your pre-disbursement conditions. So we'll give you a document called the closing forms. So that states that if you default, you are a delinquent of the loan, this is the consequences. It shows you your repayments, which is amortized, and that means you are paying principal and interest at the same time. You also move in to pay your insurance, and then we disburse the loan. So I'd like to talk a bit about insurance. So we do life and property insurance. For now, life insurance is optional. If a person takes the loan and then dies within the loan period, the insurance so although it's optional, we encourage people to still take it. The insurance company will come and then pay off the loan balance for you so that it doesn't become a burden for your relatives, your wife, your husband, etc. Then for the property insurance, it's all paid just once a year. For the property insurance, it's compulsory. So you insure the house against fire, flood, allied perils, anything that would happen that we have no control over. We use the reinstatement value because, as I said, the land would always be there. So you ensure that against the reinstatement value. So the insurance company can move in and then pay as and when something happens. Now, also to another point, you can, although the loan is 15 years, you can prepay the loan. So there are people that come to us and say that, okay, you know what, I'm supposed to pay 2,000 Ghana cedi every month, but I've changed my mind. I want to pay 10,000 Ghana cedis. It doesn't work that way. The loan is structured for 15 years. If you want to prepay or pay down your facility, you come to us and say that, okay, I want to reduce my loan balance by 10,000 cedis or $10,000 or whatever amount of money that you have. When you do that, you have the option to shorten your repayment period. So when you shorten your repayment period, you can pay more. So you shorten it, your repayment can still go high although you have come to prepay the loan, or you can say that you maintain the same period and then pay a lesser amount. So if you were paying, say, 100 Ghana cedi over 15 years and you brought maybe 10,000 cedis or $10,000, say you can say that, okay, you want to pay like 96 or 86 cedis when we do the recalculation. If somebody, right, in a month doesn't pay the loan, we say that the person is in delinquent of the loan. So delinquency is like maybe the first 1 month we've called you, oh, Mr. Oh, let's say Papa. Papa is all his money. Papa, I'm sorry, I'm using it again. So we say, oh, Papa, come and pay your loan. Well, come and pay your loan. And he said that, oh, you bank people cry, you worry too much. Why? I will not come and pay. Then 1 month passes. You are in default of the loan. You are in delinquent of the loan. Then we come again and say that month 2, Papa, please, you haven't paid your loan. Then you say that, oh, I will not pay, leave me alone. You are still in the delinquent of the loan. In month 3, you are in default of the loan. So that means that we will be moving to issue a letter and move to court to say that, well, you can't pay. And it's not as easy. I mean, some of them take like about 6 months to go to court. Will issue you like an offer, a letter to say, a warning letter to say that, oh, Mr. There's your loan is accruing charges. Please come and pay. You won't mind us. we'll get our people to move in, value your house, and then we'll go to court, present our case. If we win the court case, then we would move into auction your property. Are we aligned?
Yeah, it's quite a bit to take in. Would you, perhaps I'll let you continue. I have a few questions on this, but maybe you would answer them in time.
Okay, so um so just that we also give payment holidays. Okay, so like how COVID happened and people were saying that they had lost their jobs and all that. You can come to us and then we can restructure your loan for you. So we give payment holidays to sorry, just I had a bit of distraction. So we give payment holidays if you request for it. So the lifetime of everybody's loan, they have one payment holiday. So you really, really have to think about it. Do you really want to be on a holiday for about 6 months or 3 months, etc.? If yes, we could look at it, hold your repayments, and then when you are ready, we would restructure, recalculate the interest on it, and then you can repay the loan. So I'll pause here. I know there's a lot of information, and then we can ask any questions.
Okay, all right. So just a reset for anyone who just joined. As you can see from the title today, it's all about mortgages. We have Akosia, a business development analyst with First National Bank, telling us about mortgages and especially in the context of her bank. We've talked so far about what a mortgage is a loan secured by landed property. We've talked about some of the terms and conditions. We've talked about the process. It seems quite simple, right? And then we've talked about the fees. You need to look out for those ones too before you get in there. And at this point, we've just discussed the consequences of not paying. So if you have any questions, you can raise your hand, or if you're on stage already, flash your mic, I'll call you. Or if you are too shy to talk, just send me a message and I'll read out your question. Okay. So David, you want to ask a question?
Yes. Of course. When you were speaking earlier, you were saying something about if, let's say, I want to buy a house for 100,000 cedis, and you guys do your comparative analysis, and you find out that the house is going on the market rate for the house is about 80,000 cedis. You notify me, right? And if I say I want to go ahead, then we'll go ahead with the mortgage. Am I correct?
You are. Yeah. We'll send you a copy of the report.
So,
Okay.
what are the chances, of me still getting a mortgage from you if the house is valued at, let's say, 70,000 Ghana, but then Elikem is selling it to me for 120,000 Ghana? That was my first question.
So, yeah, I get it. So there are some allowances. Okay. It shouldn't be. So if you had said that the house was 100,000 and then Anycam was selling it for 200,000, we may decline the and you still wanted to go up because it's all risk, right? So what are the chances that you haven't paid? Like, can you hear? Getting a
Yes.
poor connection notification. What are the chances that Anycam is not your brother and you have on the side said that, oh, Charlie, let's go and collect this money from the bank and chop it and divide it amongst ourselves. So there's a high possibility that we may decline the facility. However, if it's shot by say 15,000 CDs or 20,000 or 30,000, it's not way off, because usually what you realize is that most properties, when you get a higher value than what the developer may be selling it for. Is the other way around. But if it's not that, the variation shouldn't be too wide off. Yeah. So there are instances that the client has said that, oh, it doesn't matter, I want to still buy it, and then we have declined the loan application.
Okay. And then the last one, real quick, is the part about prepayment. If, let's say, your mortgage, everything you've given me says I have to pay 100 Ghana a month. If my business is booming and I choose to pay 500 Ghana? Why do I need to talk to you and have that arranged before I can do that? That sounds a bit. Again, I say this realizing that the systems in Ghana and the systems elsewhere are not the same, but it sounds a bit kakra for me. Like, my loan. No, if I want to pay it off earlier, what's your problem?
So you agree that you are going to pay, so your loan is amortized. So when you are signing your closing agreement, it says that, well, Papa, you are going to pay 100 cedis every month for the next 15 years. In your loan repayments account, the system will only take 100 cedis. That is how the system is, because it's been programmed to say that it's 100 cedis that you are supposed to take. So the system will take only 100 cedis for the next 15 years. So even if you have 500 in it, we'll leave it, we'll come for 100. Then April will come for 100. May, 100. June, 100. July, 100. Unless you instruct us that use the money to reduce my principal. That is the only way we can help you.
So you're speaking about this in terms of the repayments. You guys are going to do an automatic deduction from my bank account. It's not like I have to be the one to initiate the payment. That's what I need to tell you.
Payments, right? And you send us 500 Ghana cedis, we will still just use 100 Ghana cedi too. Because if something happens, right, you think about this and you go to court and you say that, well, I gave the bank 500, they didn't say anything, and they've used all. Meanwhile, I've even signed an agreement that is only supposed to be. This will only come up if you need your 400 back. You've gotten some deal hot, and you need some money. You remember that you're giving us 500, but you were supposed to give us 100. So unless you instruct, so these are legal things. Unless you instruct that use the 500 to pay down my principal, we will not touch it. We will just take our portion of the 100 repayment that is due and then pay down your loan.
Oh, I get it. Okay, cool. Thank you.
Agosha, you can see that brother man, he's not in Ghana with us. He's on a different level.
Yeah, so the systems are different. So he's with them.
Yeah. Okay. So I have a question, right? And it's on the default. Let's say the unfortunate happens, you go to court and you are allowed to auction the house. How do you share it? And like, let's say the loan balance is $50,000 and the house is worth $100,000. When you sell it, what happens?
So usually during sale to auction properties, you may not be able to get the value like that. So even if it's 100,000 on the market, you need your money back. The bank 70,000 owes me plus all the charge. So as the loan has been in default, it's also accruing charges. There's insurance to pay, etc. So let's say that we've done all the compensation and it comes to $65,000. We'll take our 65 and we'll give you your 5,000.
Okay, that's
That is your
interesting.
balance.
What about this other scenario? Let's say I only have 5,000 left to pay, and the house is worth 50,000, or you sell, the house is worth 50,000, or even the for sale value is 50,000. Would you still sell the house? Because it seems like what I owe is just a small portion.
So no, even when we go to court, so you see the legal system also really favors people that have taken loans. So in as much as possible, no bank wants to move in and then auction somebody's house. So you go to court. The judge can even say that, well, the person has paid over whatever, it's just 5,000 left. He's written it off, like the bank should write it off. So we'll be lenient. I mean, 5,000 is not just like that. We could come to an agreement and then you can take some time to pay. We'll not move into just so the 5,000, even if I divide, I mean, you've been paying for say 14 years or something, that with your 5K, we'll not move ahead to just auction the house and take our 5,000. That is even unfair. I mean, there will be other ways that we could meet you halfway and then work with you to get that portion of our money back.
Okay, that's great. At least that's comforting. I have another question. I see two hands raised. I'm inviting them up to speak, but for some reason it's not. They're not coming up. But if you raised your hand, just check your to make sure that you can come up. Okay. So before we take those questions, I just want to ask a quick one. Um, with regards to insurance, let's say it's life insurance or property insurance, and the house burns. When the insurance pays the value of the house, how do you share that also? Do you rebuild the house or buy another house and continue the mortgage? Or you say, well, we've come to a crossroads. I take my money, you take yours, and then bye bye. How do you do that?
So if the house, I'm not an insurance expert, but if the house, we've not had any scenario that, okay, where we have. So if the house should burn down, and then the insurance says that, you know that the loan is written against your monthly salary. Okay, so we can hold the repayment whilst we sort out getting the money from the insurance company. Now you, the individual, can decide that, well, whatever money that I got, I could use some to pay off the loan entirely, or I want to build. Now remember that if you build another house, it's a different collateral than the one that you use for the facility. I don't know, Elikem, if you are aligned with me. So
Yeah,
we'll move in to now do another search and valuation and etc. So that will be a different facility altogether. I think that individual. So we have one person that the portion of the house got burnt, not the entire thing raised to the floor. The portion of the house got burnt. They were living in another one section, so that I think they had about 3 bedroom at their expense that they could share. The loan repayment was still going on. The insurance company came, paid them what the damages were, and they used it to reconstruct that portion of the land. Now, if the house should just totally go off, just like that's like it never existed, building a new house on it is like it's a different collateral. You may do some changes, add this, add that. It's a different new thing. We may look at the whole entirety of the situation and then we look at how best we can meet you halfway.
interesting. Okay, so not too rigid. There's some flexibility in there. I like that. Okay, so let's hear from Isaac. Isaac, welcome on stage. Please go ahead and ask your question.
Hello, hi. The reason I'm here is because of the title, All About Mortgages, and I'm working on building my real estate website online here for Ghana. I don't know exactly. I'm assuming this is most of us are in Ghana through the names. I could be wrong though, but I am working on a real estate company here in Ghana, and I've successfully acquired the partnership of Stanbic Bank for helping service mortgages for our clients. And I would like to hear, I would like to hear. I don't know who exactly. I heard Madame Akuswa speak for a bit about her mortgage experience. I believe she works at a mortgage provider. If I'm wrong, please correct me. But I would love to know more about what this room is about, and maybe if there's some partnerships to be made, or if there's some business to be conducted. I'll be more than happy to make the connections.
Hi,
Okay,
Isaac. I should, yeah, step in and then just brief you.
all right. So it's this is Money Convos. It's a club we meet here on Thursdays at 7 p.m. every Thursday, and we discuss personal finance and investments. And today the topic is mortgages. Last week we talked about loans, like normal loans. This week we are talking about mortgages. Next week we are talking about how to acquire your first house. So it's in the last few weeks there's a string around a theme, but there are other topics that we discuss. So it's just today that's focused more on mortgages. But I do encourage you to reach out to Akusia, just message, send her a message, and then you can do the link up. Follow us and let's share messages and see how we can all get involved. If you have anything of interest.
Definitely, definitely. Thank you. Just Isaac, I want to say that. So I work with First National Bank, also a mortgage provider. I don't know what you are doing with Stanbic is like an agency referral scheme. So as Eddie Kim is saying, I mean, yeah, definitely we could also step in and write mortgages for your potential clients. People have bought houses, they need financing, etc. So you could message me on the side, and then we can take the conversation offline.
Excellent. I'm still new to Clubhouse, so like messaging people is still a little bit weird for me. But yeah, I would most definitely will. I think I started following some members, so yeah, I'm very happy to be here, and I look forward to working and networking with everybody here.
That's great. Thank you for coming up. Okay, I see a hand from Major. Still trying to bring you up, but if it's accidental, I'll just leave it be, but I would invite you up anyway. Okay, so let's see. Does anyone have any more questions? Perhaps those of us on stage, Mimi, Jenny, Paulina. Paulina, we've not heard your voice today. How you doing?
I'm very well, thank you for asking.
Great, great. How's our nephew?
Oh, he's very well. I'm back in England and he's in Ghana, but I know he's well.
Oh, okay, okay, great, great, great. Prince, how about you? We've touched on your insurance part a bit too. Do you want to share any mortgage related experiences from the insurance field before we continue?
Hello, Elikem. Good evening.
Good evening, Prince.
Yes, please. How are you doing?
Charlie, great to you.
I'm also doing fine. And greetings to all the panelists and all members joining us on this platform. So I think, as Akusia said, we have insurance also provide protection for mortgage products. Yeah. So I work with FMB. I work with them on some of their mortgage products that they offer to people for the protection aspect of it. I also work with Stanbic and Ecobank as well as some of their um, mortgage protection policy that they sold to clients. So it's something that is happening. And one thing that you I think you spoke about a building getting burnt and how would they treat it. So even if a building gets burnt, so insurers first of all need to assess the kind of damage that happened to the building. So we have um, situation that the insurers consider they are treating the claim as a total loss. So if it's a total loss, then we assume that we didn't realize anything from the property that got burned. So there's nothing that the insurer can resort to bring down the cost that is incurred. So they write it off and then they pay the total value. But let's see when the building gets burned and there are some portions that the fire or whatever happened didn't affect that portion. Insurers will look at estimating that, and they are going to treat it as a partial loss. Let me put it that way. So it means that they are not going to pay the full value because it didn't affect the entire building. So they are going to pay an aspect of it, so that at the end of the day, you can use that aspect that they pay to go and repair the other parts of it. Because in insurance, you need not to profit from insurance. So we would definitely bring you back to the state that you were in before the loss occurred. So that's something I wanted to throw more light on. Thank you very much.
Thank you too, Prince. It's always good to hear your perspective. Okay, Akosia, I could pause my questions for now and let you continue with your presentation.
So Elikab, interestingly, I thought Elikab, Prince was highlighting some form of the for us, but yeah, we could just discuss some areas. I don't know if other people will be interested. Some areas on some scenarios of just give me a second. So I'll just go through, say, if you are buying a property of maybe 200,000 cities, what your repayment would be. Oh, yeah. Just also to note that when you are taking a mortgage, you can pair with somebody. So maybe husband and wife, brother and dad, mother and daughter, whatever. So far as the person has a relation with you. So if it's a wife, you can show us your marriage certificate. If it's your brother, your birth certificate, etc. So you can co-borrow with somebody. So example, if I earn maybe 1,000 cedis and then my husband earns maybe 1,500 or 2,000 cedis, we could put our incomes together and then borrow the loan. So we have a co-borrow option for people that are interested. Also, even if you will not use your salary, you could have your name on the documents as a co-borrower, so that when we are doing your land title certificates, your name can also come on it. So I'm going to just run you through maybe a first illustration of a property price being about 200,000 Ghana cedis. So the deposit that you give for such a property price to 20% will be 40,000 cedis. Then we will give you the loan of 160,000 cedis at a rate of 18.47 and a tenor of 240 months. That's about 20. Yes. Then your monthly, so your qualifying income. So to be able to qualify for a loan of about 160,000, you need a qualifying income of 6,300 cedis. 6,300 cedis, and your repayment would be about 2,500 cedis. Please note that we cannot take more than 40% of your disposable income as your loan repayment. So it's against Bank of Ghana for us to just take about more than even 50%. The reason is that you are sort of even forcing the person into default. The person that is coming for the loan has to pay for utility, children's school fees, contribute to funerals, engagements, etc. So we don't go above 40% of the person's disposable income. Then you pay your application fee, minimum $500. You pay your deposit towards registration, and then you pay your property insurance. So that's just an illustration. I'll just go through over again. So if you find a 2-bedroom detached house or a semi-detached house, let's say located at Oyarifa, and the price is 200,000 cedis, we would give you a loan of 160,000 cedis, and we expect that your equity, whatever you give the developer, will be 40,000 cedis. So 160,000 cedis at an interest rate of say 18.47. Your monthly repayments will come to about 2,500 cedis. You need an income of 6,300 cedis to qualify for such a loan amount spread over 20 years. So that's about 240 months. Is that okay, or it was too much information?
Oh, that's okay. I've recorded that, so I can always share again. But I'm curious, 20 years, that sounds a bit much. I usually hear about 15. So if it's, let's assume it's 15, a scenario where it's 15 years and a scenario where it's 10 years, what will be the payment and qualifying income?
Elika, can I send that to you? So I'm trying to do the illustration on my laptop. I'm just having a connectivity issue.
No
I'd
problem.
already done the you'd say. So the idea is that by the time the person should finish paying the loan, they should be 60 years. So if you take the loan at 40 and give you 20 years, you would finish paying by 60. Elika, am I right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. But however, there are some professions. So if somebody's like a professor at University of Ghana or Tech or UEW or wherever, lecturers, for example, or doctors can become like specialist consultants. They can go up to 65 years without being on retirement, or they have the extension of working for longer years after pension. So if you're able to prove that, well, you have a contract with somebody, even after 60 you can still work, then we can extend the loan 10 for you. But just risk factors and all that. I mean, it's paid towards the person's salary. By the time they are 60, they are on pension, they should have finished paying the loan so that they can rest whilst they go on pension.
So yeah, that then all the people who want to retire at age 55 or even 50, make sure that your mortgage is shorter. Paulina, I hope you are listening.
So I'll just go through some five.
Akosia, sorry.
Yes.
So I have questions that weren't related to the scenario. So if you're done with that, I would want to ask them before you go to the next one. Is that
Okay.
fine? Okay.
That,
So my
that's fine.
okay. My first question was that when we're talking about the rates, the one that you add the margin, so you said you use a reference rate. So when let's say you use a reference rate and it is, for instance, 16%, is it fixed for the whole period of the loan, or is it, let's say 3 months before the, okay, let's say, okay, is it fixed? If it's fixed, do you have an option for a floating rate loan? Yes, that's my first question. And my second question is that what will make you refinance somebody's loan? For instance, somebody is with, let's say, EcoBank, and he's saying their terms are blah blah blah. What are some of the factors that you look at to say that indeed EcoBank wasn't treating you right, and so I want to take this burden on myself and probably pay EcoBank back and then refinance your loan? Yes, so you can answer those two for me, please.
Okay, so thank you, Jennifer, for the question. So when it comes to the GRR, the Ghana reference rate, all the banks are at the mercy of Bank of Ghana. So we don't. If you come, so it's a if you come, so March 2022, maybe Bank of Ghana has pegged their reference rate at 14.18. I'm sure as the things are, prices and things are changing in Ghana, for prices etc, they might even go up a bit higher. So we start at 14 points, maybe 18, add our margin, slap you the discount, and then it's a variable rate, but barely it's variable and fixed. So barely do we come back and say that, oh, GRR has changed again, pay this, it has changed next month, pay this, it has changed. No. So it's we keep it fixed, but just that on the offer usually is like a variable rate based on the GRR rate. So we are mostly at the mercy of Bank of Ghana. Whatever Bank of Ghana decides that it's a Ghana reference rate for lending, that is what we'll use. So if you came this month and it was like 12%, we'll start at 12. If somebody comes in April or August and it's like at 19, we'll start the person off at 19, but you are safe with the 12 that we wrote you on. And so to the next question on refinance. So some people move for various reasons. Okay, some would say that customer service at supposed bank, EcoBank, whatever, is terrible. I do not like my relationship manager, the way she talks to me. I believe that testimonies at the First National Bank have a better customer service and a way of collecting the loan. I would want to be with you. There is really no way to say I'm going to EcoBank to be sure that the person, what's it called? The person has a bad customer service experience. However, would just be sure that the person is not lying about customer service, just that they have been in default and etc. We take the person's repayment history. So that when we take the person's loan statement, we'll see if there's like default interest, delinquent interest, etc. on the statement. That would go to show that this person, he's not like a really good mortgage, that he doesn't really service his loan well. We may not take the loan. However, we take and we see that, oh, you've been paying well, your salary would qualify you when we remove it, etc. We would go ahead and then take the loan from the other bank and pay them off. Some people also really just want to consolidate their loan. So maybe they have a personal loan with First National Bank, they've taken a car loan with us, they have a mortgage at say EcoBank or Stanbic, and say that, well, this bank is taking this. They would rather maybe just bring the loan to one financial house and then pay comfortably there. So in such situations, we would also refinance the loan. Another point is that people like to take advantage of lower interest rates. So as I mentioned earlier, we are running this Yoho discount of 1.5%. So if you are an existing customer with the EcoBank and you were paying say 14.5, you can say that, well, I'm taking my loan back, or I'm taking my loan to First National Bank so that I could enjoy a lower rate of say 12.5, 13.5. So reasons are different. But just one thing that would make us not take the loan is that you may have bad repayment history, and that no bank wants to take such a customer on their hands. So apart from that, I think that all the other reasons I've given hold.
Okay, that's great. Can I just clarify? It's true that the GIR varies, it changes over time. But just to confirm, once you lock in a rate for someone, does it change during the tenure of the mortgage?
It doesn't.
It
So far
doesn't.
that I've
Okay.
been with them, yes. So even for clients that we give them dollar variable, we don't go back to change. We just lock it at the rate that we give them, and then we move on from there.
Okay, great. Thank you. All right. I have a few more questions, but is there more you want to add before I come with some questions?
Okay, so I wanted to just I don't know if it would interest us here. Say maybe if somebody earns just five income scenarios. So if you earn like
Okay.
3,000, you could qualify for 76,000 Ghana CD, right? And you pay 1,200 every month. So if you find land or a house, or somebody wants to give you a property for say $75,000 or less, sorry, 75,000 CDs or less, and you earn about 3,000 Ghana CDs, we can help you. So if you earn say 4,000 CDs, you can qualify for about 101,000 Ghana CD, and you will paying 1,600 every month. I'll move on to say if you earn 6,000 CDs, you can qualify for about 150,000 Ghana CDs, and you pay 2,400 CDs every month. So there's an illustration that we put together that shows what your net income would be, your loan repayment, and the loan amount you can qualify for. Yes, just so that that's just the point to note. Yes.
Okay, sounds good. I know someone who was before we started this conversation, she was in earlier. She was complaining that, oh no, I can't afford the mortgage. But I think at this rate she can afford the mortgage. It's just where the house will be. That's the only question. And
Definitely.
and and that brings me to a question. I know next week we'll be having a more detailed question about this. But since we have you and you have a relationship with developers, right? For something between 70,000 and 100,000, what kind of house and what kind of location, or is it an apartment, should someone be expecting? Because you are saying 3,000 in income. So this 3,000 income is like after taxes and deductions, right?
Yes, that's the person's net. Yes.
So let's start from that 75K to 100K. But it's like, where should people be watching? Should they start coming from Koforidua, or they can be closer?
Sinyane,
So we
sinyane.
Jennifer, I mean,
75 to 100,000. You can get a property. Okay, so you can get a 2 or 3 bedroom property around Ashalibuche, which is Lakeside Estates. You can look at East Legon Hills. You can look at Oyarifa. You can look at Abukobi. You can look at Pram Pram. You can look at Kutunsi. You can look at Pokwase. You can look at Ayimensa. You can look at Dowenya, Kaswa. So you see, they are not really like far off places. They are places that we all live now. 75 and 100,000. That's like a very, very good income bracket. Sorry, property price, and then you could live like fairly close to town. It's just that when you get to town, Elikem, like when you get to the creme de la creme areas, that is, even you could even get studio. Let me mention this. So you could even get studio apartments starting around 400,000 cities in town.
okay,
But just that, you see, because Ghanaians, we not a lot of people be buying the idea of that. Maybe if you want to invest, let me say it this way. I'm just trying to put my thoughts together. If you are trying to own a first home, right, as a bachelor, you may buy a studio. or because we have the extended family system, they'll say that hey, ukoto dine ba kupu si kenyine koto dine mumu ba kupe. They would encourage you to find like a 3-bed so that if you marry, you can have a place for your children, your mother-in-law, etc. That is why people don't really buy those studio apartments. For those who buy the studio apartment, they are like people that have really made it. They don't need a real home. They just want to do Airbnb, etc. But yeah, $100,000. If you want to invest, you can get a studio apartment in town.
Okay, so the 3,000 that you were mentioning, 3,000 in income you were mentioning earlier, just to confirm, was that
Oh, that's
dollars or cedis?
cities.
Cedis. Okay, so for 75,000 cedis to 100,000 cedis, are we still looking in those areas?
No, we are not.
Okay, all right. I think
So
I'll rest
we
at
can
this point
get
then.
land. You see that it is good income. So you see, you can use it to buy land, right? In all these areas that I have mentioned, you can get land for say 50,000 cities, 40,000 cities. You still have 30,000 cities more to tap into. You can start your foundation, bring it to block level. I mean, it's also generally if you want to really climb the property ladder, and I would say this, you can also be doing is it would be tough, but you can give yourself like a 3-year building period, a 4-year building period. You can, if your salary is not to the level where you can qualify for so much, if you're able to even buy your land, you do a small. You could put up a nice 2-bedroom house and start your life from there. So it's just to encourage people that real estate is one of the greatest assets you could ever own. I would like to end with this that when I finished school, I bought a land at I think Abokobi for 15,000 Ghana cedis. Right, it was a 70 by 100 or even like 70 by 110 land at Abokobi, and I kept servicing it, and it's been like 5 to 8 years, and that same land I got an offer for 60,000 cedis. Somebody wanted to buy it for 60,000 cedis. So yeah, real estate like is an asset that you will never go wrong because it keeps appreciating and appreciating and appreciating and appreciating. Sometimes you just really need to pinch yourself and have the discipline. Make it a point that well, it's a personal resolution, but by age 35, by age 40, by even 27 or something, you'd want to have something small, even if it's a half plot somewhere. You would appreciate it, would appreciate in value, and you will not regret it. So now sometimes I'm sure I'm taking you back to your next week's topic that you mentioned, but sometimes the numbers look like it can't be workable, but people sit in restaurants and blow like 1,000 cities every now and then on food and drinks and all that. If we really have the discipline, we could little by little climb the property ladder. So that's where I want to end my presentation, and then if there's any question, we can take it from there.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for that. Just a quick clarification. Which year did you buy the land?
I bought the land in 2016.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay,
2016.
okay. All right, cool. Thank you. Okay. Akosia, thank you so much for this presentation. It's
Elikem, please,
been
can I
great.
ask a question?
Yeah, Paulina, in a bit. Yeah,
All
just
right.
just a second. Okay, so thank you so much. We've learned a lot, but yeah, as you can see, people are eager to ask you questions. So some hands came up. So I saw. So we'll take Ohenewa, Nate, then Jennifer, and then Paulina. So Ohenewa, welcome on stage. Let's hear your question.
Hi, Elikem. Thank you. Thank you very much. Akosia, thanks so much for enlightening us and most especially myself. I'm sorry if this question has been asked before I came to the room. I basically would like to find out in terms of the interest rate, looking at what is happening in the country, looking at issues of inflation and how the value of money keeps decreasing. How does it work? Do you pay the same interest rate as you got the loan? I mean, in terms of the date or the month that you took the loan, or
it changes as and when all those factors are taken into consideration. I would like a bit of clarity on that. My second question has to do with the if your organization, and sorry again if you have mentioned it and probably I didn't hear, do you have the mortgages yourself, or the individual would have to go scout for those ones before they come in for the loan? Thank you.
Hi, thank you, Ohiniwa. Thanks so much for the question. I'll take just the second one first, and then we'll go on to your interest rates. So, what you mean by mortgage is that you want to find out, do we have developers like properties that we
Yes.
recommend?
Yes,
Okay.
please.
So yes, we partner with a lot of, I mean, almost, there are some real estate developers we don't work with anymore because they had title issues, but we work with any developer so far as their title is good. We can only recommend. So this is the thing with real estate, right? I can tell you as a bank and say that, well, you came to First National Bank. I said that you should buy this 3-bedroom house at Kutunsi. Now, 5 years along the line, you can see that, well, there's a lot of mold, and I mean, there's water under the land, the building, and the roof is coming off, and the drainage is poor, etc. You come back and tell First National Bank that you said I should buy so and so and so. This is the problem with the land, with the house. So we encourage all individuals to find a property of your choice. So something you have seen and you like. So we are in the business of giving you the money to buy what you like. Now, if you are confused, we can say that, well, we have about 100 real estate developers that we work with, different location, different prices. We would make all that information available to you. Then you would select what you want. I don't know if that answers your question, Ohiniwa.
Yeah, it does. Thank you.
Okay, great. Now, also on the interest rates, so we have two rates. We have because we give the loan, we used to do pound, but we don't do it anymore. So we have the loan in CD and in dollar. The dollar rate is quite stable. It's a base rate, it's our lending rate of 12.5% for resident Ghanaians. Let me mention that for non-resident Ghanaians, is 13.5%. Again, because of the risk margin, it's easier for me to find somebody who is living in Koforidua or Kumasi or something than for me to come out to, I mean, Papa and Paulina said she's in England, and then go to Edinburgh and be looking for somebody that I don't really know the street names and all that. So they attract a risk margin of about 1%. So for the dollar, it's quite stable. However, with the CD, we are at the mercy of Bank of Ghana. So Bank of Ghana periodically issues the Ghana reference rate. So if this month is 12.5, or say 14.8 something, and then you come and then your facility is approved this month, we lock you with that rate, with our margin. However, if you come maybe in December and the rate has changed, we'll use the Ghana reference rate plus our margin and then lock you with that margin. So for the CD, it's as and when Bank of Ghana changes their GR, then we would also adjust ours. However, for the dollar, it's pretty stable. It's 12.5 resident, 13.5 non-resident.
Okay, thank you. But as a follow up, if you earn in CDs, can you get the dollar? Can you get the dollar?
Yes, so I mentioned earlier that it's interesting, and Elikem helped me out. It's interesting. Usually, so yes, if you earn in CD, we'll convert your money to dollar and see if you would be you can qualify for it. And yes, most people do. Interestingly, most people qualify for more money in dollar with their CD salary than they do in the with in the local currency. So say I earn 5,000 now. I still use, but come back and use the 5,000. I could qualify for say $20,000, right? Because the rate is 12.5 in the dollar. Now, when I come to CD, because the rate is at 18 point something, it lowers the amount of money I can qualify for. So I will not qualify for the 20,000 equivalent in CDs. That is how, so the dynamics are different. So a CD earner, interestingly, will qualify for more dollar when the currency, when we do the conversion, than he would qualify for a CD loan, the amount in a CD loan. Yeah. Are you aligned? Do we
Yes,
go over
thank you very much. I could say I'm aligned. Thank you.
again? Thanks.
Great. Then we'll hear from Nate now. Hi, Nate. If you are speaking, please unmute. Okay, Nate may be unavailable at the moment, so let's hear from Jennifer. Then we'll go to Paulina.
Okay. So my question is that looking at, I just want to, okay, I have two questions. The first one is, I just want to, it's more of a comment. Looking at, you can have a loan for like 20 years, and the interest rates between the 20 years can be all over the place. It's, I don't, there's a lot of risk with a fixed return or the fixed interest rates, but then if you've been doing it for a while, you understand. But then my question is that, do you think it is like that's all in Ghana, or it's just with your bank that you know that they do something like this?
Jennifer, please come again.
Okay, so the fixed rate for the whole of the loan payment period, do you know if it is like other banks do, let's say a review of the interest rates in, like, let's say 5 years or 10 years, or all banks in Ghana have the fixed rates like you people do?
Okay, so we have both the fixed and the variable. I can't speak for all banks in Ghana. If there's an annual review, I mean, it's something for. Thanks for bringing it up. I haven't really heard anything like this. I would check it. You see, because we don't spend. I can speak on the dollar anyway. Because we don't spend dollars in Ghana, we also borrow from somebody to also lend. They come with an agreed rate. So it's not that we would lend at 12.5 and in the next 5 years they say, okay, lend at 9.5 or lend at 7 point something. So the dollar is quite stable. It's quite, so if you give you a fixed dollar rate, it's what is going to carry you for the next 15 years. However, with the CD, I would have to check what happens when it goes, GRL goes low, 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 low. Can you request that we look at your loan again and then redo the interest calculation? It's something that I'll take up and then find out. Can chat on the side later on it.
Okay, thank you.
Akusha, I would like to take a stab at Jennifer's question, right? I see it as a question between, if you have two options, going for a loan with a floating rate or a fixed rate. Fixed rates, if you agreed to 13.5, then the 13.5 throughout the 15 or 20-year period, versus something that changes. When you go with something that changes, yes, it may work out well for you in certain instances. For example, if for some reason, 5 years down the line, interest rates drop so low, and you would now be able to pay 10% instead of 13.5%, then that's a lower cost for you. So, yay, hooray, that's a great thing, right? But there's, just as there's a pro, there's a con to it. What if the
Definitely.
economic situations also gets worse, and now you have to pay 15 or 16%? There's that risk. So when there's the floating, there's a certain risk. If you are comfortable with at any given point paying what is on the market and you don't mind, okay, it's all good and well. You could go ahead with that option, but there's that risk that you want to be concerned about. And I think with a fixed rate, a benefit you can have is like, Akusha talked about refinancing. You can, over time, just shop around with other banks. If you got it at 13.5 and God answers our prayers and our economic situations improve drastically and they can come down to 10, and you can just go to a different bank to refinance it at a lower interest rate. That's also an opportunity for you there. So I think that's something that it's available as an option to try and weigh the two options?
I was thinking on even with the behalf of the bank, like if things, yeah, it's fine. So my second question is looking at the way that it can be difficult to sell properties in Ghana. Do you have any idea how the foreclosure takes with your bank? Let's say when you seize the collateral of a defaulting party, how long it usually takes to close it or sell it totally, and at what like slash do you think it usually takes? Like when
So
it comes
some
to the price, yes, okay.
so the property will be taken over. So after the court process by an auctioneer, right? So we would have to do the valuation and say that okay, the current value is. We try as much as possible because you also have to understand that the client has also may have made some payments over maybe the past 5 years. They have also invested, right? So you have to try and make sure that you get some amount of money so that the clients can also get some takeaway. So we may value the property, we'll give it to an auctioneer. He will start at the open market value. Now, there are properties that have been with us for over 3 years that we don't have a buyer. There are also properties that somebody will just go into default, you get court order, and then the next 2 months is sold just like that. So there's no firm answer to how long it takes or how slow it takes. There are also properties that you would go to court and then the client's lawyer would argue and argue and argue, and then the judge can say that, well, you can sell this property after 5 years if the client doesn't really get back to repaying the loan. So just to answer your question, we don't really have a firm time period for the properties to be low for first properties that are like gone to foreclosure to be sold. Some can take like 3 months. If it's 3 months, hooray! Some is like 5 months. Some 2 years, a year, 3 years, and they are still like lying on your books as bad loans, etc. I mean, even depending on the products that you take, right? There are also risk factors. So I mentioned that we have our equity release mortgage, right? You should know that with our equity release mortgage, we only do up to 60% of the value of the property. So there are people that want to also sell their house to you, or they are not getting a buyer, but they have some amount of money, or their income is good. They can approach the bank and say that, oh, give me an equity release mortgage, and then dump the property on you. So you give them the mortgage, you give them some amount of money from their house, then they immediately month one they are in default. I don't know if you are following the conversation. So in month one they are in default, month two they are in default, month three they say that, well, you can sell the house. I don't want it. There's a client that took a mortgage. It was a very bad example. Took a mortgage, went to the UK, chasing up and down and things, and sent an email that, oh, we can sell the house. She's not paying the loan, etc. So, given our facilities, there are also like dynamics to it. It's just also on the foreclosure. I'm just bringing it in on the foreclosure timelines. There's really no timeline to when you can sell a property. Even some clients even do it as like have a way to just dump the property on you for you to sell, which we try as much as possible to avoid that. That's why for the equity release mortgage, as I mentioned earlier, we will only do up to 60% of the value of the house. Jennifer, I don't know if we are aligned on this.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, Elikem, I don't know if I can come in now.
Okay, yes, yes. Please go
Okay.
ahead.
All right, short. Good evening, everyone. Sorry, I think I had network issues, but let me say that Akosia, you've done well. I think I appreciate the light you threw on this mortgage stuff. So the questions I was going to ask were virtually asked by um Ohiniwa, and then Jennifer also came in from, and Angela equally wanted to come in out again. But then let me find out. So you actually mentioned some amounts and made reference to some areas in Accra, and said one could get mortgage or could get facilities from those areas. I mean, not in Accra, outskirts of Accra. Those figures that you mentioned, whether in cedis or in dollars, I just want to clarify
Um,
whether in cedis or in
the
dollars.
illustration, the amount that I mentioned, just to also be on the same. When I said 3,000, you can qualify for 75 and pay like 1,002.
No, no.
Is that
When you
it?
said no, that you could get say maybe you mentioned like either 70 or 100,000 in OEB or in you mentioned Dodowa or Dowenya or some areas. You mentioned figures in areas. I just want to be sure of whether the amounts you were mentioning were in cedis or in dollars.
I need. Please, they were in they were in USD.
Okay.
However, yes, you could get the dollar city equivalent. So we have a developer, Dome City Estate, building at Community 25. He sells. You can get property from about 200,000, 250,000 to between 350,000 cities.
Okay.
So there are also developers. Just I mentioned earlier that where these properties are located, most people will say they don't like it, it's too far, petrol prices, etc. But yeah, we have developers that build within a certain range. Put up
So
from
So I think yes. So I think 250, 300. That's realistic. So that's fine. My next question is to find out from this is an expert opinion. Would you recommend to your clients to take a mortgage in CDs or in dollars, and why would you choose any of the two currencies?
ah Nate, this is like an essay. You okay? So now that the rate is running, right?
Yeah.
If you would qualify for the CD, you may be better off. You may, let me use the word, you may be better off taking the CD so that you know that even though the rate is running at 7.5 by tomorrow or next week, you are paying 1,002, you can sleep. The thing is, in the past, when somebody takes like say let's say $30,000, okay, and then they were paying say maybe $100 every month, right? That's about 100 let me say, and the rate was say I think about 2 years ago the rate was at $1 to I don't know Elikem if you know anything about it. I think it was like $1 to 4 cities or so. So when you do the math, it's possible that the person is better off than somebody who had taken a CD loan, because the CD, the repayment is relatively higher. However, when you come to the dollar, it's lower. Let me not confuse you and use this rate. So in we started this in about 2009, the mortgage business. It was First Ghana Home Loans before First National Bank acquired it. So if in 2009 the rate was 1 CD to $1, right, and therefore you were paying 100 CDs or $100 every month, 1 CD to $1. So yeah, so 100 every month. Now the rate is at 7 CDs to $1. So that means that you'll be paying about 700. That is like so much. Okay, so usually which facility that you should take and why would really depend on the exchange rate in the country at the moment. I don't know if I've answered your question, Nate. So I'm saying that currently, if the dollar or the CD is stabilized, the dollar is stabilized and is not running as it is, you may be better off taking the dollar facility. But because we don't know what's going to be in the next like 2 or 3 years, it could be 10 CDs, it could be 11 CDs or 12 CDs, then you are doomed. So you are better off maybe really swallowing and then taking your CD and then managing it for the next 10 years, 15 years, if you would.
Akushi, I would like to help you out with this
Thank you.
because I managed a real estate fund some time back and we did some of these calculations. So perhaps you can help me first with this. For a CD mortgage, some years ago, the rate was 25%, around 25, 27%. Is that correct? Some years ago.
Yes, that's correct. Yeah,
Good.
25.
And at that same time, a dollar mortgage was still going for 12, 13%. Right.
That is
So
correct.
in that Yes. So in that case, if we were to even do simple math, let's say I said 25% compared to let's say 13%, you have a difference of 12%. So then it's not even so much as the current FX rate, but it's your idea of what the city's depreciation is going to be into the future. In the last 5 years, it's before 2022. That is, the average has been 7%. If you believe that it's going to stay at 7%, then that means the difference of 12. You take out that 7%, and there's an extra 5% in there that is just extra cost. So, in other words, you are worse off by going the CD route. But today, considering the information that Akosia is given, that you can get a mortgage at 18%. Is that correct, Akusha? A CD
Yes,
mortgage.
yes.
Good. So let's assume you have good credit. You can get a CD mortgage at 18%, and you could be getting a dollar mortgage at, let's say, 13%. Now, that difference is just 5%. Now that 5% is what you compare with the city's depreciation, your expectation for the city's depreciation. Before 2022 happened, I would say average 7%. And you can see that already the city's depreciation is worse than that difference that you are getting. So now that gap has actually closed. So that if you are looking at it in terms of mortgage, you may actually, as Akusha is saying, want to consider a CD mortgage instead. Now, if you believe that the CD's depreciation would not be as rapid again and it's going to be stable, just some small depreciation every year, then you may want to reconsider the US dollar mortgage. But for now, I guess with the where the interest rates are, CD looks attractive. Another thing to consider too is this scenario. I use the 15-year period, right? And if you actually look at the payments for these new numbers that I've got, my calculations may be a bit off from what Akosha was saying, but this is a $60,000 mortgage. I haven't worked out the property value, but if you're borrowing $60,000 or its CD equivalent at 7.5, that's 450,000 CDs, right? Your monthly payment on the CD at 18% would be 7,200 cities. But in dollars, that is $759. So let's find the CD equivalent of that 759. It's actually about 5,700. So you see that when you start, if you go the CD mortgage way, you are paying 7,200 a month. If you go the dollar mortgage way, you are paying 5,700 a month. But here's the thing that a lot of people think about. Yes, the city's depreciation. So as time goes on, for those who took the dollar mortgage, it is per my calculations for you, when will it take for you to catch up to that same
Yeah,
7,200?
exactly.
Aha, it takes 2
Wow.
years 9 months. Yes.
Mhm.
Aha, 2 years 9 months for you to catch up to that same amount. And if you are looking at it in terms of 2 years 9 months out of a 15-year period, maybe it will look like it's not worth it. Maybe you just go with the CD and stick to it. But when I was looking at times when the interest rate was much higher, then it was even about between 5 and 7 years. So that one you even have a stronger case to go for the dollar. But now looking at where the interest rates are, maybe
The
you may want to
exchange
reconsider.
also,
No,
yes. Sorry,
yes,
can you
yes,
mean
and good.
the
True.
exchange?
So both the interest rates and the FX depreciation, the FX depreciation too. So yeah, that's just a little extra information to buttress what Akusha was saying. Pardon me if I got to be nerdy on you.
Thank you. I mean, we understood it. Yeah, the projections were spot on.
Okay. Okay, great. Nate, I hope we've been able to help you with your decision.
I now get why Akosia said the question was an essay question, so it's fine.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
great.
It demands a lot of analysis and
Mhm.
intro.
Yes.
Yeah, but that's not,
Yeah,
it's not a straightforward decision. Yeah. Thank you so much.
you're welcome. So we can hear from Paulina. Paulina has been itching to speak, so please, big sis, go ahead.
I think that the final question. Oh, but first of all, let me say that Akusia, you're a very good teacher. Like you broke the subjects down very well. In fact, I was even considering taking a mortgage already. But the final question that Nate asked and the answers that I'm getting is what is holding me back a bit. Because then based on all of the explanations that you gave, I think that and everybody on here knows I am loan averse, but it makes a lot more sense to get a mortgage to do a property. But now it's the exchange rate that's my problem. So when Ohiniwa asked the question, my follow up was going to be on whether yes, we are looking at the interest rate, but then we had not thought about the exchange rates differentials as well. So it's good education that I received. So I think that's about it. The only question is, if I am taking the mortgage, Akusia, do I have to pass my salary through your bank?
Hmm. So yes and no. So usually if your employer would agree, if you don't have any loan, so there are people that already have loans with other banks that their salaries are there. So we'll look at the time you are left with to pay off that loan. We could give you the grace period. When you are done, you can reassign your accounts to us. Also, if you are giving the mortgage to a banker, I mean they pay them to their bank accounts with the bank. So you cannot ask them to move the salaried low like accounts to us. However, if you are business as usual person, you just have a low an account with EcoBank, there are no ties, etc. Yes, it will be a requirement that you move your salaried accounts to the bank. I hope that answers your question.
Yes, please, it does. Thank you very much.
Oh yeah, and then you should definitely think about taking. Don't be scared of. I mean, you know, in Ghana they say that ushra undi. I mean, we'll not come and take your
Usra
house,
undi
but
de ye yo, ye yo. Ajana one, ajana two.
I mean, we even have clients. You know, it will interest you that there are people that never come to the bank, never. Not that they have so much money, they manage their finances so well. There are people that the rate is running, they've gone on the black market and purchased some dollar and things. So I mean, they'll keep it under their bed, they come and pay you soppy 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 soppy. So really it's also how well you manage your finances. As you know, you are working cost of living, or that you get some little money here, you get some extra here, you can put it together and it could help you with your repayments. But look at the rates now. If Paulina, you have a house, that would be the best time to sell it to share. No, don't sell it. I mean, you know that it's being appreciated as the years go by. So I would also really encourage everybody. If it's even a small plot of land, if you may not even really need a mortgage, it's 5,000 CDs at some Apollonia outskirts of town somewhere. I mean, just get it. Just buy it, find some money and buy it, and make sure you have the correct documents. It will serve you well one day.
Paulina, take a cue from it. Just this week, I met a client who is buying large land banks for a lot of money. So the rich people are doing it. Maybe you can also start 5,000 CDs at a time. Okay.
I hear you.
Great. Okay, so Akushia, thank you so much. You've really taught us a lot, as Paulina mentioned. Oh, wait, no, there's a last question. Yes, let's take the last question from Ohenewa. Ohenewa, you wanted to ask a last question, then we wrap up for the night.
Elikem, thank you. I wanted to find out from Marcosia if I'll get some information on your website. I'm on your website now. I'm trying to research, but is there a particular way I could get more information? I'm not really finding my way around it. Um, yeah, I think there's a second one, but to be honest, I think Paulina's question has made me lose my train of thought, so that's okay.
Okay. Let me send this. So I've sent my. No, am I okay? Yes, I've sent my email to the chat. If you could just pick it up and then you send me an email, I'll send you everything you need to know about the home loans products and then the processes, what we are offering, anything, anything.
Well, Akusha, would you also like to say your email out loud so that anyone who wants to make an inquiry can reach out to you?
It's
We
on
don't
the
want
room,
spam.
actually on the room chat. I don't know if you could see it. Can anybody see it? Is there a room chat? Oh, I have done it. I have. Please, can anybody see it? Elikem, can you see it?
No,
It's
I
on the
can't see it.
it's on the
Yes, I
room
can see it.
chat.
I can
I've
see
seen
it.
Oh,
it.
okay. I need to upgrade my app then. Okay, that's
Yeah,
great.
yeah. So it's Mantebia, Mantebea dot Asante, Asante at firstnationalbank.com.gh. Elikem, everybody can see it. Just you.
Imagine. Okay, that's great. Then everyone has got it. We are good. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me too.
Okay. Okay, then. It's been a great conversation. We've learned a lot. Thank you, Ohinewa, Nate, and we had Isaac earlier on asking a question. Thank you all, Jenny, Paulina, everyone for your questions. Mimi has been awfully silent, and when Mimi is silent, that means she has a notepad out and she's soaking up all the information.
She's
You,
processing. She's
you
processing the
understand?
information. Yeah.
You understand? So I'm sure she's noted down the email. We're going to see what she can do about the mortgage. So yeah, thank you so much, Akustia. And guys, we normally don't do like adverts outright, but really in appreciation for Mantibia spending her time with us and coming to explain things so well for us. I strongly encourage you to consider First National Bank when you're thinking about a mortgage. Trust me, we're trying to find people, and people were hesitant to speak. So I'm really glad Mantibia would open up to us to share her knowledge. Thank you so much. And
No.
to Okay, and in terms of general housekeeping, it's our usual meeting times on Thursdays at 7 p.m. The is like we are just whetting your appetite with mortgages. So next week we just have to have that conversation about acquiring your home, whether you are building it yourself, one cement bag at a time, or one iron rod at a time, or you are buying land, whatever it is you are doing, you are getting a mortgage, or you are going to see the house in cantonments, point at it and say, I want it, and then you just pay them cash. However, you are going about it, we are going to have a conversation with you tomorrow. We'll get some experts in here to explain certain things that we need to look out for, make sure that we are well covered. And even if we are not ready to execute, the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago, right? But the next best time is today. So at least we can start planning. So I look forward to everyone joining in that conversation. And not forgetting our Monday, 7 p.m. book reviews on YouTube. If you are not following us on social media, please, Money Convos GH everywhere. On YouTube, just search for Money Convos. And make sure that you join in the conversation on Monday at 7 p.m. We are discussing the intelligent investor. So if you want to be an intelligent investor, I think it's about time you joined us to hear what we are discussing there. You don't have to read the book, but it's just good that you hear the lessons that we are sharing on what we've read from the book. So thank you all so much for spending your Thursday night with us. And I wish you a pleasant end of weekend. That's tomorrow to kill off the week, the working week, and then a pleasant weekend. And catch you on Monday. Bye.
Bye. Thanks for having me. Bye.
It was a pleasure.
Thank you for taking the time to listen to our thoughts. I hope you learned a thing or two and start practicing. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Clubhouse, and Facebook. And subscribe to our YouTube and podcast. Do tell a friend about Money Convos so we all become wealthy together. Talk to you soon. Bye.